Welcome to this channel. Today, I'm going to address the filter function in Excel. What does a filter function do? It filters data based on a criteria. So we have 4 examples. Stick with me till the end, then we shall go through them. Our first example, we are going to see how we filter by text. We have a data set here with name, score, and group. And we're going to filter this data based on the color in this drop-down here. So I have a drop-down here. You can say red, you can say green, and I can also say filter by blue. So using this data set, I'm going to filter out all values that have a group of blue and load them here. That's my first example. In my second example, same data set, I'm going to filter out values based on my drop-down, which are greater than 50 or greater than 70. I go into this data, pick out all those values that are greater than 70 and load them here. In the next example, after that, I'll look at 2 conditions where I want to filter out based on 2 conditions. In other words, 2 conditions must be met before my data is filtered. So the first condition, I want green and above 50. So it will run through this data, look for green and 50, above 50, get it, load it here. And in our last example, we are going to look at the all function, either this green or greater than 50, but not both. Those are the 4 examples I have for you. Let's get into it. Now, in the first example, we are going to filter, run through this data, pick out all the names that have blue, which is this one, and this one. This is a small data set. I can easily copy and paste. However, if it's a very big data set, you need to use the filter function. And by the way, if you don't know about the filter function, it is not available in older versions of Excel. It's available in newer versions and Office 365. So if you don't know how to, you have an older version and you want to access Office 365 or Office applications, you can go to the URL www.office.com. You sign in with an Office account, then you have access to Office applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. So that aside, let's get into our example. So we are going to use the filter function. As I said, it takes 3 arguments. The first argument is the array. Which data am I going to filter? In my case, it is this data here that I highlight, comma, include in my filter. What do I want to include? In my filter, what I want to include is go into this red here and pick out all values that are equal to this blue that I put in this cell. And if you get them, filter them out. And if you don't find them, give me a message. That is my third argument. If it is empty, give me a message said not found. You can type here anything that you want. So I enter. There you go. So if I do that, you can see it went through this data set, picked out Jane, Gabriel, and Joanne. Jane is here, is blue, Gabriel, blue, and Joanne, blue. So it picked them out and loaded them here. If I change this one to red, it goes again into my data sets, picks out John, which is red, picks out Mary, which is red, and picks out Paul, which is red. So it is filtering this based on whatever I put here. If I put blue, it does the same work. So this one does not necessarily have to be on the same worksheet. It could be on another worksheet, and you're filtering from a detailed worksheet to a summary or whatever you wish. So that is filtering by text. In the next example, I'm going to filter by values. So in other words, I want to run through this data set and I pick out all values greater than 50. If I find them, I load them here, go back, pick out values greater than 70, find them, load them here, and greater than 90, find them, load them here. So again, use the filter function. Go filter. What data set are we filtering? This is the data set I'm going to filter. Ensure I've selected everything. Then comma. In my filter, what do I want to include? Remember, I want all values above 90. So I'm going to say, run through this list of values and get me values which are greater or equal to the value I put in this cell. If I don't find it, return the message, say, not found. Okay? Okay, it's complaining, it needs double quotes here. Change that to double quotes and accept. There you go. So as you can see, I have my criteria is 90. It has gone through this data set and picked out two values that are greater or equal to 90. When you run here, you can see Kenneth is 93, greater than 90. Joan is equal to 90 because my criteria says equal or greater. So it takes 90 as well. If I change this one to 50, so I'm saying greater than 50, you can see all these values are greater than 50, and it does it right. Greater than 70, I can do so. And you can explore and do other things between 70 and 80, but I'll not go into that. You can look at my next example and you think about how the principles I'm applying to look at those other scenarios. Next is example, I'm looking at two conditions. In the first two examples, I looked at one conditions where I looked at the text being red or blue or green, filter out based on that. In the next example, I looked at the number greater than a certain value, but now I want to look at two conditions. For my filter to work, I want it to be based on two conditions. The first condition is I want it to be green. At the same time, the value needs to be above 50. These two have to be fulfilled for my filter to work. That's what I want to demonstrate in this example. So I use filter function. Again, what am I filtering? This is what I'm filtering. What do I want to include? I want to include all colors. So I pick the column of colors equal to this color here. Then I put in my brackets. I'm going to use a multiplication sign, that one. I can explain why I'm using that. And then open brackets, I want values above 50. So I want values to be picked from here. They must be greater or equal to 50. 50 is right here. Close that bracket, close the opening bracket, press enter. As you can see, I want green. All these are green. And the values have to be above 50. As we can see here, it is above 50. So it has met the two conditions. You may ask, why am I using this multiplication here? Let me show you what happens. So I took this color green, I said equal to this guy here. What do we get? We get true, false, true, true. So in other words, where there's green, we get true. Where the color is not green, we get false. There's another green here, we get true. Another green here, we get true. Next, I also said, I want this column here to be greater or equal to 50. Press enter. What does it give me? It gives me 4s. This is 37 is less, it gives me 4s. When I go to 70, it is more, it gives me true. 74, it gives me true, and so on. Then I was doing a multiplication. Let's multiply these two and see. You get 0. Now, you'll observe that where I have true here and true here, I get a 1. And when I have a true here and a true here, I get a 1. So it is filtering based on these ones here. That's why I multiply these so that the second argument is a Boolean function. A Boolean function is a function that stands true or false. The value, the data type is Boolean. In other words, it is true or false. And in Excel or in other programming language, false is 0 and true is 1. Got it. So that's why I did the multiplication here, meaning that it has to be this and that. Next is the all function. I want to use all. In other words, what I want to do is say filter. Yes. What am I filtering? This is the data I'm filtering, comma. What do I want to include in my filtered values? I want to include this green or greater than 50. In other words, one of the two conditions has to be met for the value to appear in the filter. It is either green or the value is above 50. If any one of those, at least any one of those is met, then the value will appear in the filtered information. So how do we do that? So we're going to say we want green. Also open my brackets, say green. The list of these values should equal to whatever I put here. And because I'm using all, I'm going to add. Then I want all values here to be greater than or equal to the value in here, close that, and then of course here is another argument which is optional, not found. This is optional, you can include it or don't include it, it will still work. So you can see either one of the conditions. So Peter is included because he's in color green, though he is less than 50. So one of these has to be met. Jane is included because he's above 50, though his color is green, and has met both conditions. So the list, at least one, so 1 and above conditions, if they are met, both values are also included, like Anne has been included because he is above 50 and color green. This one, Gabriel, is above 50, but the color is different. So at least any one of those two conditions have to be met for the color to be, for the name to be included in our filter. So if I come here, I say red, see, now it changes to that. Say this, and blue. Okay, maybe it's a 19. Let's say 9. Let's say green here. Okay, this is one or two conditions have to be met for it to be true. So that is how the filter function works. I've shown you how to use one variable as a basis for the filter, either a number or a text. I also shown you how to use if there are two conditions, ensure that both conditions are met for the value to be filtered, or if it is one condition, then one condition has to be met for the value to be filtered from a big data set. I hope you enjoyed this and it has been helpful. Have a great day and please subscribe.